And also Andrei actually has mentioned at some point Pulp and Paper Institute that you were developing something together. To use the extractives in the inking process, which was also a kind of introduction, I guess, of our next speaker. David Ravnjak is director of this Pulp and Paper Institute. And today it will not be so much on this this possible use of extractives in the inking, but we have asked David to share with us another another, let's say, product or service that their institute is offering. It is actually circular paper brand. So paper is, of course, one or maybe the most circular product of all. But what is even more interesting nowadays is that it can also, how to say, that we can use quite every biocomposite actually with cellulose in it to produce paper out of it. And the institute is dealing with that and commercializing this as well. And this was, yeah, just for introduction, teaser, but the main thing comes now. So David, over to you.
Luca, thank you for your kind introduction. Yeah, actually, what we are doing, or where we are coming into the picture, is where our colleagues from Ars Pharma or our colleagues from InnoRenew sort of stop or produce a certain side stream. And this side stream after extraction is normally some sort of biomass. First, couple of words on our institute. We are located in Ljubljana, and we are an R&D institution which is focusing on development of materials and products from mostly lignocellulosic biomass, but basically we're working also with any kind of biomass that contains lignin or cellulose. Besides being a reference laboratory for the paper-making field, we are also demonstration and training center for characterizing and functionalizing fibrous materials. And we are supporting the industry which is or wants to be engaged in circular economy. And last but not least, we are also a training and education center for the paper making and packaging industry. Why actually would one want to use residual biomass as a source of cellulose fibers? If you look at the statistics, the fact is that the pulp and paper industry is using more than 50% of recycled fibers, which actually means that we are not producing enough fresh cellulose-based fibers since 1950s in order to fulfill all the demands. So basically, the first step was, of course, to recycle the fibers, but the next step nowadays is to find new material sources. Of course, also everything in light of material management, of efficient cascade use, and by supporting the circular economy in this way. And last but not least, also the European Association of Pulp and Paper Industry, CEPI, has recognized the non-wood fibers as a new innovation frontier for Europe's paper and board sector. Looking at the worldwide situation, we can see that also in the worldwide paper industry, half of fibers, of cellulose fibers, is being already recycled, meaning that also on the world scale, we are lacking fresh fibers. And in many countries, they've recognized this and started to use other sources as raw materials for production of cellulose. Currently, the main raw materials being used in this way are coming from the crops, being it straw, bagasse, bamboo, some reeds, grasses, or from textile fiber production such as kenaf and hemp. Nevertheless, we are talking still on less than 3% on the global scale. What are the potential sources of biomass? First of them, there can be fast-growing plants which are cultivated with intent for cellulose production. This is a bit of, let's say, problematic in terms of using the land instead of for these plants instead of using the land for production of food. On the other hand, there are a lot of waste streams that are coming from wood processing, from agriculture, from food processing, containing enough cellulose to be converted to cellulose pulp. There is another interesting group of materials. These are invasive alien plants, which have to be removed and destroyed according to your European Directive on Biodiversity. And Pulp and Paper Institute has built a quite significant database in recent years, where we have data on approximately 50 to 60 materials that are not coming from wood, from forests, but can be used as a biomass sources for cellulose production. If we take a look at some of them and compare their chemical composition, you can see that the majority of these plants on the graph are invasive alien plants, but there is also wheat straw and there's also wheat bran for comparison. And you can see that all these materials contain between 30 and 40% of cellulose. However, they contain much less lignin compared to softwood or to eucalyptus. But they also contain quite a lot of hemicelluloses, which can be also used in the chemicals industry. So basically, a lot of these materials are appropriate as an alternative to softwood or hardwood tree species that are currently being used in the pulp and paper industry. On the other hand, if we produce pulp from these materials, the question is, what is the quality of this pulp? And again, making a comparison to a softwood or to a eucalyptus pulp, one can see that the mechanical properties of these pulps coming from these raw materials are actually quite similar, in some cases even better as the mechanical properties of the raw pulp coming from spruce or from eucalyptus. How do we approach developing a new product from this alternative pulp sources? Basically, we start with the preparation of the solution concept that is followed by research and design of the materials and a product design. And the next step is, of course, testing and verification of the idea or of the first prototype on the lab scale. Having also pilot equipment on our institute, meaning that we have a pilot paper machine, pilot printing machine, and pilot packaging production, we are able to scale up these solutions or these new products in order to do the application testing, due to the fact that we are able to produce also small scale pilot series of the final product. And along with that, we should not forget that all these products have also to be evaluated in terms of their environmental impact, in terms of their biodegradability, compostability, and as we are dealing often with materials being used for packaging or for food packaging, we're always performing also the evaluation of legal conformity in terms of international and also national legislation. To give you some examples, what have we already done at our institute? I would start with various papers that have been produced from cellulose that has been gained from invasive plants or cultivated plants. Here, the raw materials that we have tested are Japanese knotweed, Canadian goldenrod, black locust, miscanthus, and the pulp from these materials, from these raw materials, can be used in up to 40% portion mixed with wood-based pulp in terms of a standard paper recipe. The papers produced in this way have mechanical and printing properties that are more or less the same as they would be with a standard paper based only on wood cellulose pulp. The next big group of raw materials that we have also tested are agricultural residues. Here I'm presenting, let's say, two most prominent or most tested. This is wheat straw and tomato stems. Again, the cellulose produced from these agricultural residues can be used in a portion up to 30% in terms of paper recipe, having again the same mechanical and printing properties as the standard paper. In this case, we have also gone a step further, and we have also produced cardboard and cardboard boxes from this paper. Just to give you an impression, we also have been the supplier of 10,000 cardboard boxes made out of tomato stems pulp that have been used as the protocolar gift boxes during the Slovenian presidency of the European Union. The last group is maybe more versatile in terms of raw materials. Here we are dealing with different packaging materials like jute bags, then sawdust as a residue from wood production, and with many different food processing residues like wheat husks, onion peelings, citrus peelings. These materials have a rather high variation in composition and also a high variation in the properties of the cellulose. For that reason, currently they have been tested mostly on the lab scale. However, we are working also here on products that can be designed and also produced from these sources of cellulose. We should not, however, forget what are the challenges with potential use of these alternative raw materials. The first is their availability in terms of season of the year, and also in terms of geographical distribution, as they're often present in dispersed sources. Yesterday there was a speech on biorefinery, and biorefineries are actually conversion facilities that can be used for production of fibers from these materials. However, currently there are not many biorefineries on the European map, or not, at least not the specialized biorefineries. And with the biorefinery, there is also an issue on capacity and also on process robustness. Of course, there is an economical question. If material does not have enough cellulose content, is it economically feasible to be used? On the other hand, using not a kraft process for production of lignin, for production of pulp, sorry, the lignin here remains as raw material, not as a fuel, as lignin is being used in kraft process. So lignin can also be used as a raw material for other process or products. Materials with high content of hemicellulose can be used, for example, in coatings production or for production of base chemicals. However, in terms of pulp properties, there is a high variability of pulp properties observed. And this means that this pulp can be used either as a partial exchange for fiber raw material, of course, always depending on the properties that we are seeking at the final paper. For all those who have now, let's say, raised an eyebrow and have an interest to get more information, here are a couple of links to general articles, overview articles that can give you other, I would say, directions for your research. At this point, I would thank you all for your attention, and of course, I will be around for your questions.